The dynasty days of Kansas City, they're over.
I think this is a hard reset for them this year.
Who's the number one player on the Packers?
I'm not saying him. I give credit when it's due, but I'm not saying his name.
The Las Vegas Raiders are not only going to surprise, but going to win the division.
I'm not afraid to say it, and I've been saying it about Patrick Mahomes, overhyped and overrated.
Patrick Mahomes is not N-O-T, a tier 1 quarterback.
Everyone knows Patrick Mahomes. He's the NFL's golden boy, the face of the league, the guy holding Super Bowl trophies like the TikTok trends. But here's the thing. What they don't always tell you is that Mahomes' story in the NFL isn't just about highlights and rings. It's about how he low-key changed the entire way quarterbacks are judged, how he made defenses rethink football philosophy, and how the Chiefs went from that fun Andy Reid team to a straight-up dynasty. Let's rewind to 2017. Mahomes wasn't supposed to be this. A lot of scouts thought he was a raw prospect. Some said he was reckless. The Chiefs had Alex Smith. He was steady, accurate, never flashy, but reliable. And then Andy Reid and GM Brett Veach said, nah, we're moving up from pick 27 to pick 10. They gave up a king's ransom to get this kid from Texas Tech, who played in an air raid system, threw for a bazillion yards, and made throws that looked like something out of a backyard football game. What people tend to forget is how big of a gamble that was. In 2017, NFL teams weren't lining up to draft air raid quarterbacks. The stereotype was that they rack up stats in college, then flop in the NFL. But Andy Reid saw something else. He saw that Mahomes wasn't just improvising, he was processing. He had the arm talent to break the game. And when the Chiefs sat him behind Alex Smith for a season, it was like giving Tony Stark a year to learn how to use Iron Man's suit before putting him in battle. When 2018 hit, Mahomes wasn't just good, he was ridiculous. In his first year as a starter, he threw for over 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. Let me repeat that, 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns in his first year as a starter. The only other quarterback to do that, Peyton Manning, the guy who basically rewrote the quarterback record books. And Mahomes wasn't doing this with boring checkdowns. He was hitting Tyreek Hill on 60-yard bombs, side-arming passes around defenders like he was in a dodgeball tournament, and pulling off ridiculous no-look passes. But here's the sneaky part. This wasn't just about stats. Mahomes' 2018 season shifted the standard. Before him, quarterbacks were judged on consistency, pocket presence, and maybe efficiency. After Mahomes, it was like, cool, but can you throw across your body 40 yards downfield while sprinting left? No? Then we don't want you. The Chiefs went 12-4 in 2018, locked up the division, and Mahomes won league MVP. That was only his first year as a starter, but the heartbreak? The Chiefs lost in the AFC Championship game to Tom Brady and the Patriots without Mahomes even getting the ball in overtime. One of the worst football rules ever invented. And that game was huge for two reasons. Number one, it showed that Mahomes could go toe-to-toe with Brady at age 23. And number two, it lit a fire. The Chiefs didn't want to be entertaining. They wanted to win Super Bowls. So here's where it gets spicy. 2019 rolls around, and Mahomes has this crazy year. He sprains his ankle, dislocates his kneecap, and still comes back like nothing happened. But what people don't always tell you is that season was where Mahomes proved he wasn't just a highlight merchant. He was a winner. Division round versus the Texans. The Chiefs down 24-0. Most teams would have folded. Mahomes went full video game mode. 5 touchdown passes, 51 unanswered points, and the Chiefs won 51-31. That was the birth of a legend. Then the AFC Championship game versus the Titans. Mahomes hits that 27-yard touchdown run where he broke like 4 tackles and tiptoed the sideline. That's when people were like, oh, he doesn't just have an arm. He's an actual athlete. And then the Super Bowl. Chiefs down 20-10 in the fourth quarter against the 49ers. Mahomes throws the bomb to Tyreek, which flips the game, and the Chiefs go on a 21-0 run to win their first Super Bowl in 50 years. Mahomes becomes the youngest QB to ever win a Super Bowl MVP. Then came the bag. In 2020, Mahomes signed a 10-year, $450 million contract, $500 million with incentives. At the time, it was the biggest contract in sports history. And honestly, it looked insane. Paying one guy that much? But the Chiefs weren't paying for one guy. They were paying for certainty. They knew they had a quarterback who could keep them relevant for 15 years. That season, Mahomes did Mahomes things. Over 4,700 yards, 38 touchdowns with only 6 picks. The Chiefs rolled through the playoffs back to the Super Bowl, but then came the brick wall. Tom Brady and the Bucs defense. The Chiefs' O-line was banged up, and Mahomes was running for his life the entire game. Literally over 400 yards scrambling before passes or sacks, and the Bucs stomped Kansas City 31-9. Mahomes still made throws in that game that people talk about to this day, like he was diving about to hit the turf and still launched a 30-yard dime that hit his receiver in the face mask. They dropped it, but the throw was ridiculous. Even in a loss, he looked supernatural. 2021 was the first time people started asking, is Mahomes human? The Chiefs stumbled, the offense looked off, defenses started playing that too high safety look to take away Tyreek Hill deep. Mahomes forced throws, racked up picks, and suddenly the flawless magician was human. But here's the underrated part. Mahomes adjusted. That year, he learned patience. He started taking what the defense gave him, developed his short game, and relied more on Travis Kelce. The Chiefs still made the AFC Championship, but lost in overtime to Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Painful, but necessary. The reason I say that is because that season taught Mahomes how to win ugly, how to not just rely on arm talent, but strategy. Mahomes had been humbled a little in 2021. Defenses finally cracked the code, or at least they thought they did. The whole too high safety look suddenly spread across the league like a TikTok dance. Defenses were like, well, if we can't stop Mahomes, maybe we can just annoy him into mistakes. And for a minute, it worked. Mahomes forced deep shots, the turnovers piled up, and the Chiefs' offense didn't feel like the unstoppable machine it once was. But here's what they're not telling you. That season was Mahomes' grow-up year because it taught him something that's scarier than his no-look passes. It taught him patience. You see, Mahomes built his reputation on fireworks, deep bombs at Tyreek, scrambles that turned into memes, jaw-dropping throws across his body. But in 2021, he had to turn into a surgeon, take the 5-yard gains, hit Kelce in the middle, dump it to the backs. It was almost boring compared to his 2018 highlights. But that adjustment, that's what turned him into a complete quarterback. Because if the 2018 Mahomes was a gunslinger, the 2021 Mahomes learned how to be a chess master. And then came the shocker of 2022. The Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill. Yeah, the fastest man in football. Mahomes' cheat code weapon, gone. Everyone said the same thing. Oh, this is going to expose Mahomes. Without Tyreek stretching defenses, he's just going to be normal. Mahomes went into 2022 with a revamped offense. Travis Kelce and a bunch of new receivers. Juju Smith-Schuster, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, rookie Sky Moore, and Andy Reid scheming his heart out. Instead of relying on one superstar, Mahomes turned into the ultimate distributor. He led the NFL in passing yards, touchdowns, and yards per game. And the wild part is that he was doing it without forcing deep bombs every play. Kind of like watching Steph Curry when defenses chase him off the three-point line. And he's like, all right, cool, I'll just destroy you in other ways. 2022 ended up being one of those legacy years. Mahomes won his second MVP. Then went on a playoff run that cemented his face of the league status. In the divisional round, he sprains his ankle against Jacksonville. Looks like he's cooked. Nope, he hobbles back out there and still leads them to victory. In the AFC Championship game, on basically one leg, he guts it out against the Bengals and gets revenge for 2021. Then it's the Super Bowl, Eagles versus the Chiefs. Philly had the best pass rush in the NFL. Their defense was historic, and Mahomes had that bad ankle. You'd think this would be the end, right? Wrong. Mahomes goes 21-27, throws 3 touchdowns, and rushes for 44 crucial yards, including that game-sealing scramble on one ankle. The Chiefs win 38-35. Mahomes grabs his second Super Bowl MVP, and suddenly, the Dynasty Whisperers turn into full-on conversations. 2 rings in 4 years as a starter, 2 MVPs, multiple 5,000-yard seasons. Oh, and he did it while resetting his play style without Tyreek. That's not just greatness, that's adaptability. Everybody throws the word dynasty around way too much. But with Mahomes, it feels legit. The Chiefs have been to 6 straight AFC championships. That's Brady and Belichick type consistency. And Mahomes is the common denominator. The defense has changed. The receivers have rotated in and out. But as long as number 15 is under center, the Chiefs are dangerous. What they're not telling you is how rare that really is. Most teams with superstar quarterbacks still have down years. Rodgers missed the playoffs. Breeze had slumps. Even Peyton had random flameouts. Mahomes, he's basically immune. His bad year is an AFC title game lost in overtime. That's ridiculous. But then came 2023. For the first time in his career, Mahomes wasn't playing with a stacked deck on offense. The receivers, rough, like drops galore, missed assignments. There was literally a stat floating around where if the Chiefs receivers hadn't dropped so many passes, Mahomes would have had over 700 more passing yards and 9 more touchdowns. And remember, this is the year Travis Kelce started dealing with nagging injuries. So it wasn't that same blanket Mahomes had with him every week. Yet Mahomes still dragged them to 11-6. The Chiefs upset the Ravens in the AFC Championship game, then beat the 49ers again in the Super Bowl, giving Mahomes his 3rd ring. And that Super Bowl proves something new. Mahomes can win ugly. He didn't need to light up the stat sheet. He just needs to make key throws when it mattered. The Chiefs defense carried, but Mahomes' composure sealed it. This is one of those sneaky things people don't talk about enough with Mahomes. It's not just his arm. When you're on an opposing team and you look across the field and see Patrick Mahomes, there's this mental weight like no lead is safe. Think about the Texas game in 2019. Down 24-0 and won the game 51-31. Think about the 49ers in the Super Bowl, down 20-10 in the 4th quarter and won the game 31-20. Think about the Eagles game in 2022, down 10 at halftime, ankle cooked, but still won. Defenses know it, fans know it, and you better believe other quarterbacks know it. When Mahomes has the ball in the 4th, it feels inevitable. The psychological edge is part of his greatness, and it's what makes the Chiefs look scarier than they actually are on paper sometimes. Also, let's not ignore the off-field empire. Mahomes isn't just winning games. He's building generational wealth and influence. He got a massive contract, sure, but also investments in sports teams. He literally owns part of the Kansas City Royals. He's positioning himself like a LeBron-type figure bigger than just a game. The Chiefs aren't just playing QB with a star. They're playing with the face of the NFL. Every commercial, every ad campaign, every broadcast, they lead with Mahomes. And that pressure, he thrives under. By now, the resume is outrageous. 3 Super Bowls, 2 league MVPs, 6 straight AFC championships, a highlight reel that looks more like a Marvel CGI folder than actual football. But the real question isn't, is Mahomes great? We already know that. The question is, how high can this guy actually climb? Are we talking top 5 ever? Or are we already starting at the beginning of the GOAT conversation? Let's break this thing down. When a quarterback dominates, people immediately put him up against Tom Brady, which, to be fair, is like comparing your local band's mixtape to Thriller. But Mahomes is on a trajectory we've never seen before. At the same point in their careers, Brady had 3 rings in his first 6 seasons as a starter. Mahomes also has 3 rings in his first 6. But here's the difference. Brady's early titles were carried by defense and clutch drives. Mahomes' rings, he's been the reason. He's the engine, the MVP, the magician pulling wins out of thin air. Now, does that mean he'll end up with 7 like Brady? That's to be determined. Longevity matters. But the fact that we're even having this conversation when Mahomes is barely 30, that's the part that's insane. And here's something people aren't telling you about Mahomes. His down years are other quarterbacks' dream seasons. In 2021, when defenses started cracking the code, he still threw for 4,800 yards and 37 touchdowns. In 2023, with his worst receiving group since becoming a starter, he still got 27 touchdowns, another ring, and a Super Bowl MVP. If that's the floor, imagine what his ceiling looks like when the Chiefs reload his weapons. You see what they did to the Ravens this past Sunday when they got Xavier Worthy back. And Rashee Rice is coming back in a couple of weeks, so watch out. We gotta give Andy Reid and Brett Veach credit. The Chiefs have built around Mahomes in a way that sets them up for sustained success. They locked him up on that long contract. They've invested in the offensive line. They're slowly rebuilding their defense into one of the NFL's best. But the real trick, they don't panic when big names leave. Tyreek, gone, no problem. Mahomes adjusting. Juju, not as big, obviously. Gone. Fine. Plug in rookies and trust Travis Kelce. And Travis Kelce looks like he's ready to retire. I'm sure they'll adjust to that as well. They know Mahomes is the constant, so they can take risks everywhere else. This is what dynasties do. They don't cling to one formula. They evolve. And Mahomes is the ultimate evolution cheat code. This is one of those things that stats don't always capture. The Mahomes effect is real. It changes how defenses play. It changes how offenses are built. It even changes how quarterbacks are scouted. Think about this for a second. Before Mahomes, the NFL wanted safe guys, pocket passers, game managers. After Mahomes, everyone wants creativity. Everyone wants mobility. Everyone wants that arm talent that can launch it 60 yards on the run. Guys like Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and even Caleb Williams coming out of college. They're all compared to Mahomes in some way, shape, or form. He's not just playing in the NFL. He's shaping what the NFL looks like. Here's what fans don't see. Everyone talks about Mahomes' talent like it's just natural. And yeah, the arm is blessed by the football gods. But behind the scenes, this guy works. He's constantly tweaking mechanics. He studies defenses like a scientist, and he doesn't get complacent. Remember when he lost to Brady in that 2020 Super Bowl? Then spent the next offseason learning how to handle those two high safety shells that haunted him in 2021. Most quarterbacks plateau after success. Mahomes keeps leveling up, and he's not doing it alone. He's got Andy Reid, one of the greatest offensive minds ever, basically cooking up new plays with him like they're in a backyard lab. That bond between coach and QB, that's another underrated piece of the dynasty. So what's the future for Mahomes? Here's what they're not telling you. The Chiefs' current run might just be the warm-up. Travis Kelce is aging, that's for sure. But as long as he's around, Mahomes has his security blanket. The defense is young and elite, and Mahomes seems to have that same formula. Quarterbacks are playing into their 40s now. Imagine Mahomes with another decade plus to go. That would be insane. The scary part is he could realistically win like 3 or 4 more rings. That will put him in rarefied air. Like GOAT status isn't even a debate anymore air. Right now, here's where Mahomes already stands. Fastest player to 20,000 passing yards. Youngest quarterback to win both MVP and Super Bowl MVP in the same season. First player to ever win 3 Super Bowls and 2 MVPs before the age of 30. And it's not just the records, it's the style. People are going to remember his highlights forever. The no-look passes, the horizontal throws, the insane comebacks. Think about Jordan with the flu game. Think about the 81-point Kobe game. Mahomes has his Texas comeback, his one-legged scramble in the Super Bowl. That's the stuff that cements legends. So what are they not telling you about Patrick Mahomes? What they're not telling you is that this isn't just a great quarterback. This is a literal once-in-a-generation player who's been in the sport to his will. He's already stacked accomplishments that most Hall of Famers never reach. He's changed how quarterbacks are judged. He's given the Chiefs a dynasty blueprint, and he's only getting started. The only real mystery left is how far can he take it? Can he chase down Brady's 7 rings? Can he shatter passing records while doing it? Can he finish his career as the undisputed GOAT? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Let me know if he's going to pass Tom Brady. Let me know if you think Mahomes will get 7 rings. Here's the truth though. With Mahomes, nothing feels impossible. And that's the part that's both terrifying for defenses and magical for everyone else. But did you know Caleb Williams was supposed to be the shortcut? A once-in-a-generation arm, a creator in chaos, the kind of quarterback who turns a bruised franchise into a destination. His skills have been compared to guys like Kyler Murray's electricity, Russell Wilson's moonball, the improbability of a young Patrick Mahomes when he bends left and bends physics back to him. And the Chicago fans embraced the fairy tale right away. But after a full rookie season, a carousel of coaches and criticism, and a mountain of sacks, now 4 games in year 2, fans are not quite sure what to expect. If you want to know what they aren't telling you about Caleb Williams, just click right here.